Is it working again?
Okay, we're back.
I should post this on like my stuff. People will I could probably get like 2 or 3 people who would like at least click on it.
Aren't you?
I don't know. I don't use social media very much. Social media is great for sharing educational content with the masses. It's not great for your mental health.
Okay, we're back. We're back.
Oh, good.
Third time's a charm.
Julian was really afraid. I named it.
That's a good name.
Well,
You could just do Petrie in the lane before time.
That's right.
it's named Julian after the lemur from
Oh.
Madagascar.
Oh.
King Julian.
Julian.
This one could be Ducky.
Because it's smaller?
Well, yeah, wasn't Ducky a Triceratops?
No,
Yeah.
Ducky
That
was
could
the,
be.
like, platypus-looking one. The flat bill.
Hmm.
I'm trying to remember what the Triceratops was.
Your land before time knowledge far surpasses mine.
I
Me as
love
well.
dinosaurs.
I started watching Land Before Time in college. So
It's a great
didn't watch it as a child.
Oh, you should change which way that's facing if we're going to sit like this. Can you put it on
So
your
it should face this way.
other- Can you put it on
Pew,
your-
pew, pew.
There we go.
This shirt is just really flimsy. Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, we still have 0 viewers. Like they gave-
Come on, viewers.
Should
Come
we
back
just- do you
to
think
us.
We should just wait. Should we just very stubbornly sit here?
We will. We'll wait till one person comes.
Okay.
Then we'll freak them out with our excitement. We're so glad you're here.
This is just for you, whoever's watching. So if you tune away,
Do not
do not
X out. Do not click the
do
red
not
X.
change the channel. Birthday cleanup.
Yeah, we've got some people. Well, one.
This
One
spring
group.
fling's going to be here so soon. I remember when that was like, oh yeah, spring fling, that'll be in
Yeah,
6 months.
this far out idea. Now we have several people. STI kids and 3 volunteers that have told me in person.
STI?
Southeast Tech Institute.
Oh, okay. Was that group that came not that long ago? No, that was not that group. Never mind. I don't know who that group is, but that's cool.
This is college students.
Neat.
Yeah, haven't worked with them before.
I wonder what being in college is like. Never went. Dropped out of elementary school.
Didn't finish.
Recesses, man, they really got to me.
Well, the problem were the recesses, but it wasn't in the way you'd think. The recesses made me feel free. I loved them so much.
They didn't give you enough time.
Exactly. And so one day they said, all right, kids, time to go back in. And I said, bet. And I never went back.
What did you do when you
Grabbed a kickball and walked
were
away.
out at recess?
Started walking north.
What? No, like on a normal
Oh,
day.
no.
Like,
So-
did you play basketball? Did you just jungle gym it up? Or
I like the jungle gyms. I like playing tag. And at my school, we had this punishment system where there was a line. So all around the back of the building, we had these huge places. Known to a really big elementary school. There was this line painted on the pavement. And if you got in trouble, you had to stand on the line.
Oh my gosh.
So I had to stand on the line sometimes. And literally you had to just stand there and watch everybody else play, and you weren't allowed to leave the line. And if you left the line, you have to stand on the line for the rest of that day and the next day.
That's cruel.
One day, my
Yikes.
entire class had to stand on the line for a week because nobody would admit who wrote something naughty on the board.
Oh,
And I still to this day don't know who did it. It was not me.
it's the
Believe it or not,
best
it
kept
was not
secret.
me. Yeah,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
true. That was a rough week. That was the week that caused me to drop out.
That was the last week.
Still got no one watching?
Still no one.
Michelle.
Say normally.
I could text Tyler. Hey, can you get on?
I don't. How long should we wait, Kai?
What time is it?
12:09. Avery!
Avery, go on Facebook and watch.
You're fine, there's no one watching right now.
Thanks. I'll give these to Audrey.
Okay.
Cool. Paint, paint, paint.
Should we start at some point just so we can make a video out of it?
Yeah.
Do you want us to start right now then? Is there a viewer? Hello, viewer. Did it cut out again?
We're good. Alright, yeah, let's just go.
Let's just go.
Sounds good.
You have a delivery on front.
Oh, that turned it up.
There we go.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to another Butterfly House and Aquarium Facebook Live, where we take you behind the scenes. Glad you joined in there.
Hey, always.
So that you can see some of the cool and interesting stuff that happens here at the Butterfly House and Aquarium when you're not here. Or even sometimes when you are here, but you might not just know all the cool stuff about it. And today, I am with Andrea, who is our volunteer coordinator. So, Andrea, can you tell us a little bit about what your job here at the Butterfly House and Aquarium is?
Absolutely. So, my role, again, is the volunteer coordinator, which means I oversee all things that have to do with volunteering. So that might be volunteers that come in and they're in our exhibit areas. It is volunteers that are behind the scenes, groups of volunteers, internships, all those things. And in my role, I get to do things like recruit and train and chat a lot with people. And I get to be out on the floor. I also get to be back here in my cubicle doing a lot of cool stuff, sending emails and taking phone calls. So there's quite a few pieces, hanging out with dinosaurs. There's quite a few pieces of the puzzle to my job.
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing. Now, how did you get into this career field?
Well, I can say first, this was not the career field that I imagined being in, at least the industry. I didn't know that I was going to be in the aquarium and zoo industry when I was first looking for a job. But I went to college to pursue an entrepreneurial studies degree. And then I went back again to get a master's in business administration with an emphasis on organizational leadership. A lot of big words there. But my goal was to be leading and managing groups of people. And I especially had a fine-tuned desire to work in a nonprofit. So, didn't know I was going to land here, but I wanted to work with people and be organizing in an organization.
And you are one of the most organized people I've ever met, so
That's true.
It fits you well. So, what's your favorite part of your job?
People. I know that's just a one-word answer, but I get to work with a lot of people, which means that I get to learn their stories. There's a lot of volunteers that come through these doors, and I get to know them pretty well. I also get to know all my coworkers, so I have a fun time with the staff here, and it's very meaningful and purposeful, and a lot of that is because of the people I get to work with.
Nice. And don't worry about giving one-word answers, because as I always say, being concise is nice.
That's right.
What are we going to be doing today, other than, you telling us what your job is?
Great question. I think it'd be a good idea to take a walk around so you can see firsthand maybe if there are volunteers here right now and what they do. And while we're walking through, we can kind of explain what those different volunteer opportunities look like and see what's happening firsthand.
Got it. Before we get up and start walking around, I do have a couple more questions for you.
Yeah.
So, how many total volunteers do we have here?
Well, I counted this morning from our database. We have exactly 57 active volunteers, and that might seem like a lot to some people, and it might seem like not a lot to some people, so depending on what you compare it to, but every single one of those individual volunteers is someone who has been through an interview process, training, orientations, continued training, and they actually have a committed schedule with us. So they're people that they want to be here, and they're committed. And that does not include volunteer groups.
Got it. Got it. It's probably good to have committed people. You want them to show up, more than once, hopefully, is the goal.
That's the goal.
Who can volunteer with us?
Just about anyone. In our volunteer program, which is the piece that involves different orientations and training based on what our facility requires, individuals have to be at least 16 years old, and then it doesn't matter how old you are. If you are a little bit younger than 16, there's opportunities to volunteer as a group. So if you're maybe coming with a church group or with a school group, then it's okay if you're a little bit younger because there's typically an adult with you.
Yeah. Awesome. Are there different types of volunteers, or is everybody just a volunteer?
It's a really good question. So there's different types of volunteer roles. You can be an exhibit volunteer, so you're working more on the floor chatting with guests. There's volunteers who work behind the scenes. There are interns who do even a little bit more. Our groups of volunteers help tackle big projects, so the tasks do look different. And then the other piece of that is there are volunteers who, again, we have 16-year-old volunteers all the way through into their 90s. So we have a multi-generational group of volunteers. So that means that they have different experiences. They're at different places in their lives. That also means that we have volunteers that have been in this career field and are volunteering. Some of those people just really love to be around animals, and some people just want to volunteer. So a lot of different skills. Multi-generational is a really cool facet, too, of our volunteer program.
It is neat that you have so many different types of people who volunteer. It's not just all one group of people. It mixes it up, makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
Why is it important for us to have volunteers?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I could talk for hours on this, but concise is nice. It's really crucial for organizations to have volunteers, especially nonprofit organizations, because what that means is our budgets look different. The way that we're able to bring people on board looks different, and we, specifically at the Butterfly House and Aquarium, we rely heavily on our volunteers, and when they're here, they are an ambassador for our organization. They are sometimes the face of our organization. They are a first impression of our entire organization and everything that people can do here. So we need volunteers in those spots to help make this place thrive and to help give guests a good experience. I guess another piece of that is a little bit different about what we do is if we don't have volunteers, we have to have staff that are in different places. So in order for us to be productive and using our time wisely and able to get things done, we have to have volunteers in their spots so that we can do our work too. So yeah, we rely a lot on volunteers.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's lots of times that I've had to, spend some time in the Butterfly House letting people out because we haven't had volunteers on a given day. So they are definitely really important.
Yeah.
And so my final question before we go walk around and maybe meet some volunteers, see what's happening today. What things do you do to get people to volunteer? What types of, do you do outreach? Do you go places? Do you, post ads? What do you do?
Yeah, well, I mean, I can say right off the bat, we're right in the season where we're trying to drum that up as much as possible because we're getting close to spring, field trip season, summer when things are busy. But some of the things that I get to do, I am not always here, and so sometimes I'm actually off-site doing recruitment events. So that might be a volunteer fair at a school or at a college. We've done speaking events where we go sit in on like a luncheon or with a group of people and chat with them about volunteer opportunities. I have hung up flyers and posters around. We've got stuff all around our building with volunteer opportunities and QR codes that people can scan. A lot of it is word of mouth too, and so a lot of our current volunteers chat with family members and friends about volunteering too. So there's a lot of word of mouth spread. I'm really connected with many other volunteer coordinators in the region, and so we also help promote each other's volunteer opportunities. So there are some consistent things. Then there's some fun fair events that pop up every once in a while, and I grab my big tote and we set up a table and talk to people about volunteer opportunities. So it's a little bit of everything.
Sounds like you do a ton of stuff. A ton.
There is a ton.
And we appreciate all that you do, obviously.
Thank you.
So, are you ready to go, see what's happening and maybe
Always.
talk to a volunteer or two?
Always.
Awesome. Let's go.
Whoop.
She's trying to break our building.
My chair has a mind of its own.
Oh my goodness. Come on. Avery's running away. It's okay.
We do have a volunteer who's working on a mural for us, so we'll let her do her best
do her
here.
Craft.
She's pretty awesome. Hi, Avery.
Okay, so before we go in here, Andrea,
Yes.
why don't you tell us what types of volunteer positions there are in the aquarium?
Yeah, absolutely. So every volunteer that applies for a guest experience volunteer role gets trained in the aquarium and in the conservatory. So we'll get to the conservatory in a little bit. But in the aquarium, what they're trained to do is host our touch pools when they're open. We do have our Pacific Northwest tidal touch pool and our Stingray touch pool open on a rotation. And so what they do while they're here is they open the touch pool and they help guide our guests through that touch experience with sea stars and sea cucumbers and stingrays. And so they're trained on some of the USDA protocols behind all of those things and animal welfare guidelines, and then also just general tips for interacting with the public, whether it's, hey, welcome to the aquarium, welcome to the conservatory, how are you doing, are you a member with us, where are you from, all those great things. So they're trained on all of that. And one of the cool things about the aquarium is it's the first stop in the tour for guests coming through the building. So this is an exciting spot for people, and they get to, one, be around all of the animals in here, and two, learn and educate about everything going on.
Awesome. Sounds like a fun position.
Yeah.
Why is it important? Why are these positions important?
I mean, well, one, if we don't have volunteers, we can't open our touch pools. So that's one big thing. A lot of the individuals in our community and traveling are coming because they want to have an experience with the animals in the touch pool. So if we don't have enough volunteers, we don't open the touch pool. And the reason why is because animal welfare is our top concern, and we can't just open a touch pool and it be free game for everyone. So we have to have volunteers to be able to open up the touch pools. But also there's a lot of questions that guests have when they come into the aquarium. People make connections to the movies like Finding Nemo, and so they see clownfish and the tangfish, and so they have questions and want to ask questions and get answers. So it's important for people to be able to share that knowledge.
Important for, seems like 1,000 reasons.
Yeah.
I would agree, absolutely. Are you ready to go talk to one of our aquarium volunteers?
For sure.
Lead the way.
How you doing, Sandy? Are you ready? We've got some questions.
You know, they're pretty easy. So, the first question is, what's your name?
Oh, yeah, my name is Sandy Feller.
Thank you so much, Sandy, for letting us ask you just a few easy questions. One question I had is, what's your favorite thing about volunteering?
Love the different animals and reacting and being able to interact with other people. I enjoy that a lot, especially with the children. Because I enjoy being on with the kids. So.
Me too. That's one of my favorite parts about being here is getting interacting with the kids.
Getting to be little kids. So.
Another question I had was, what made you decide to start volunteering here?
Well, I've always volunteered wherever I live, and I moved here in 2016, and I wanted to volunteer somewhere, and so I thought, well, this would be a wonderful place, because then I could be with people, educate people, and see little kids.
And it seems like it's worked out pretty well for you.
Yes, it has. I really enjoy it a lot.
Awesome. And so my last question is, would you recommend volunteering to other people?
Yes, I have, and I have talked to some of my friends about it, but they don't feel like they can stand on their feet that long, or something like that. So I haven't been able to generate any interest yet.
But you're trying.
But I am. Yes, I am. I tell them it's a lot of fun and it's interesting, and work with wonderful people, and so.
Yeah, Sandy's been a really awesome advocate for our volunteer program, and if you are sitting behind the screen and wondering if this is a good fit for you, there's a lot of different opportunities that we do have some things that involve being able to sit down, so that's nice.
I sit when there's nobody in here.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
For sure.
But
Well,
it's great.
Thank you so much, Sandy. I appreciate your time, and obviously we appreciate so much that you come here every week and volunteer for us.
Thank you. I appreciate that too. So.
Awesome. Well,
All right.
we are going to move on to the conservatory. So thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks,
Have
Sandy.
fun.
Thank you.
Get
We
some
will.
cool butterflies.
Oh, I'm sure
For
we
sure.
will. Before we go in
I'm just so excited. Okay.
in this wonderful room of 10,000 mirrors, tell us, what types of volunteer positions are there in the conservatory?
So in an ideal world, we have at least 2 volunteers in the conservatory at the same time. We have someone who's typically in the other room like this vestibule on the exit side, that as a USDA procedure, we actually have to have someone walk guests through this space and check for butterflies, because everything in here is a tropical species.
Here, move a little bit this way, Kai. Okay.
Are we back on? Sweet. So yeah, so we have typically 2 people in our butterfly house that are volunteering for us. One of them is typically at the exit door, helping to check people for butterflies before they leave. And then if we have enough volunteers, we'll have somebody else near this entrance area. They'll spray butterfly feeders. And then typically there's a little bit more leeway to walk around and chat with guests and talk to them about butterflies, the button quail, the turtles, the fish, talk about the butterfly life cycle, that kind of stuff. So typically like a greeter and then someone helping with that exit procedure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And why are these, we kind of already explained why they're important, but do you want to say anything more about why these positions are important? Or?
Sure. I mean, I do know that the exit position, that's actually a regulation. We always have to have somebody at that door during business hours. So from 10 to 4, there always has to be someone monitoring that area to be able to escort guests out. So that's, if we only get 1 volunteer all day long, they're going to be there because that's a really, really crucial spot. So that's a crucial piece, but also people spend a lot of time in here and do have a lot of questions. When we have guests that come through and see a butterfly that is a color and pattern that they've never seen before, they typically want to know what it is. And our volunteers are great people to ask a lot of those questions.
Yeah, makes sense to me. You want to go talk to our conservatory volunteer?
For sure. Let's go find Jillian. How's it going over here? Good. Awesome. I already said your name accidentally a second ago, but...
Well, that's okay. Even though she already said your name, I'm going to ask again. So what's your name?
I'm Jillian.
Hi, Jillian. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us about volunteering here. I just have a couple easy questions.
Yeah.
Try not to stump you too hard. So what's your favorite thing about volunteering?
My favorite thing would probably be being able to connect with people who are interested in learning more about the marine life and the wildlife that we have here.
Yeah. Makes sense. It's a great place to do it. So, why did you start volunteering here?
I started volunteering here pretty much for that reason. I have a passion for biology and science, and this would be a great place to connect with people who are also interested in that.
Yeah, makes sense. It's a perfect place to do it. If you have an interest in nature, and especially aquatics or butterflies, and you want to volunteer, this is the best place to do it. Final question. Would you recommend volunteering here to someone who's looking for a place to volunteer?
100%.
100%. It doesn't get much more emphatic than that. So Jillian, thank you so much for taking a minute or two to talk to us, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes.
Oh, and thank you so much for volunteering. Obviously.
Of course.
Yes.
So,
thank you, Jillian.
Walk over here just a few steps. So before we go, is there anything else you want the people to know about volunteering here, volunteering in general, about your job, about you, about the Butterfly House, anything?
Yes. I dream about volunteering, okay? So I have a lot to say. But again, concise is nice. Volunteering makes a huge difference. So whether it's here or somewhere else, the idea of volunteerism as a part of your life is necessary. The opportunity to give back for something that you find is purposeful. Volunteers here have purpose in being here. They're necessary. We love having them here. They're doing something that's benefiting not only the staff and the organization, but also individuals from the community. So volunteerism is a necessary part of having, I mean, it impacts socially. So trying to figure out how to piece those words together. Social impact is important in connection to volunteerism. And volunteering here we need volunteers. Volunteers, many have said that they need this place too. This has become part of their routine, part of the things that they look forward to. We always have space for volunteers. That's another big thing that I often tell people. They say, hey, do you still need volunteers? I go, oh yeah, we always have room for them. We can work with people's schedules. We can be flexible. There's a lot of opportunities for being out on the floor chatting with people. There's opportunities for being behind the scenes and for internships too. So no matter your age, you have to be older than 16 to be in the program, but no matter your age, besides that, we can take you. And if you have a group of people that you want to do something together for fun, this is another great place to volunteer with a group of people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Final question.
Yes.
If someone watches this and goes, oh my gosh, it's time for me to volunteer at the Butterfly House and Aquarium, what should I do?
Well, you can do a couple things. One, go right to our website, which is www.butterflyhouseaquarium.org. And on the top, there is a tab that says Support Us, and the drop-down menu says Volunteer. If you click on that, you'll go to our volunteer page, and it shows you all of our volunteer opportunities. As a part of our volunteer program, we have our volunteers go through an application and interview process and then orientation. So we do have a high standard for what we take volunteers through, and we want to make sure volunteers are really comfortable in the areas that they serve. So that's why there's a little bit of the process there. But right on the website is a great place to find lots of information. Second thing you can do, come on by. Just stop over here, ask for me, ask to talk to Andrea. I will gladly chat with you to see how we can get you connected here. So come on by, or just if you want to stay at home on the couch, just jump to our website.
There are many options.
Yes.
Well, Andrea, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule. Remember, she does everything when it comes to volunteers. She's a busy lady. So I appreciate you taking some time to talk to the people
Absolutely.
and tell us about what you do, give them a little behind-the-scenes view of how the volunteer department here works.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
For sure.
Thank you, kindly viewer, for tuning in to learn more about the Butterfly House and Aquarium. We do these Facebook Lives every other week on Wednesdays, so please tune in, come by, see what we're going to learn about next week. I don't know what we're going to do next time, but I can guarantee it's going to be awesome. So we'll see you then. Bye.